It is no lie that boxing has gained so much popularity within the social media world. Not just in the combat world, but in the everyday world as well, the world of sports, the fitness world, people integrating boxing into their everyday routines. Well, for all those people out there looking to elevate their boxing a little bit more and to follow the right path, this video is for you. This video is to highlight these certain attributes of a good boxing coach and to help you find a little bit more success when it comes into your boxing training. I have been blessed to work with an amazing boxing coach throughout my competitive career. It wasn't until 8 years in, I finally connected with him at a pure fate. Two-time world champion Joan Guzman, dubbed as the best fighter to come out of the DR to beat major Cuban fighters through the amateur rankings, was my boxing coach. He's taught me so much. Also, on my journey of coaching, I've coached thousands of people through their boxing journeys, all starting from that beginner phase. So I understand how to build somebody's base, their foundation, and take them to those fight levels. So again, understand what it takes to be a great boxing coach, to see development within myself and within my clients and within all the other fighters around me. Let's dive into the different elements that make a great boxing coach. Nice! Move your head, big guy.
Okay.
He's catching you off the counter. He can counter okay. Okay. You gotta shoot off the feint. Nice! Bend more. Sit more. Nice! Number one, first and foremost, let's get the most obvious one out there. Fight experience. Now, don't get this one twisted though. You do not need to be a world champion in order to be a good coach, but you need to know and experience what it is like to be a fighter. For example, the trials, the tough times, what it feels like to get punched in the face, what it feels like as a beginner to get into your first sparring session, to get into your first boxing match. I myself never had that professional career, although I still am in the competitive stage now, and it may be down the line. I've had numerous amateur bouts at the local community level and at the higher level Golden Gloves in New York City. Again, you have to understand what it feels like to throw punches at someone, to defend punches, to be in that fight environment. You see a lot of boxing coaches that are constantly in the boxing gym, training, sparring, and maybe have not had that many fights, maybe have only fought one time. Again, that experience is still crucial. It is still critical to have when becoming a good boxing coach. And you always hear that phrase, always a student. And just because they don't compete anymore doesn't mean they can't train like they do. They could still be in the gym every day learning, gaining more experience, sparring, becoming a student of the game, studying, and translate that into their coaching attributes. Number one, experience is key. Number two, may be often overlooked, but structure and organization. Remember this phrase, if you don't have a plan, you can plan to fail. A good coach understands how to create a proper structure and system to develop their fighter or client. You have to understand how to take somebody from point A to point B to point C. You can't just go from point A all the way to F. You need to understand the step-by-step system to take somebody there. For example, I see a lot of boxing coaches. On day one, they'll teach their client or fighter how to step with a jab. But if you don't know how to step separately, and if you don't know how to jab in place properly, it'll be a little more difficult to do that move. Again, understand how to create structure and systems to take somebody step by step into learning a move. Structure, organization, a proper plan is key to a good boxing coach. Number three is one that my coach was extremely good at, which is funny because his English was a little broken, but communication. A good coach knows how to communicate. And I say it's funny about my coach because he spoke Spanish. Most of the time, and I speak English, but he was still able to communicate what he wanted to get me through. And what I mean by a good communicator is they understand what kind of learning style their fighter or their client may have. Like a button, as soon as you feel it, you go. Yep, there you go. Now you do, now you work, now you work. They understand what they need to do to get a certain lesson across. Whether a fighter is more of a vocal learner and they need to describe the drill a certain way or the lesson in a certain way. In a fight, you gotta pressure him. You gotta pressure him. Yeah, he can't fight going backwards, but you gotta tighten up your guard a little bit more. If you go big, move your head big after. Okay. They're a visual learner where the coach has to demonstrate multiple times how to properly execute a move, or maybe a little bit of both, where they're able to help you visualize on how to execute the proper objective at that moment. A great boxing coach knows how to communicate a good lesson by all means. Hey, stay composed. Yeah. How many times you been in that fight like this? Too many times. You have to win this round, bro. You have to. Okay. Show it here. Show it here. And the last but not least, patience. A great boxing coach, and one you should be looking for, is going to be patient with your progress. But don't get that twisted for somebody that lets you get away with being lazy. They're very disciplined and structured at what they want to execute, but they're patient in the process. Boxing takes time. If you're a beginner and you're listening to me, or if you've been boxing for a minute, you understand that it takes a while to really understand this sport, to understand the mechanics. They're very awkward. Think about it. When in your life had you ever had to throw punches with proper technique, rotating the hips properly, staying in a strong boxing stance, being light on that back toe? Very few times. So when you try to get your body to do these certain movements, it may feel a little more awkward. Boxing, it takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of time and consistency in order to elevate within it. Again, a great boxing coach is patient. Come on, come on, yup. Nice. You fucking tough, baby. You fucking tough. Quick recap into what to look for in a good boxing coach. A little bit of fight experience, somebody that's organized and structured within the things they like to teach, somebody that knows how to communicate well to all learning styles, visual learners, vocal learners, a boxing coach that is patient within the process. If you like this kind of video, please let me know with a comment, like, and subscribe so I know to keep putting out more content like this. And until next time, y'all, that maestre mentality, keep elevating yourself so you can elevate those around you. Peace.